everyone. Well, thanks for joining me for another edition of Visiting with Mia. And today I'm super excited to talk about the Washington Cares Fund. This is the first in the nation. And with us today, we have Kathy McCall. She represents Washington with AARP. And she's going to tell us a little bit about the gap when it comes to how people that are aging and how they're just not planning and they are going to really need the safety net. So I'm super excited to introduce Kathy McCall.
Hi, Representative Gregerson. Good morning, and thank you for asking me to be part of this presentation on the WA Cares Fund. There's so much information to share with you. AARP here in Washington State has about 900,000 members, and we're very focused in on long-term care, helping people plan for retirement savings, and also making sure that they have a secure, healthy future.
How many Washingtonians are we talking about that are going to need and use this program?
What we know for a fact is that come 2025, when the WA Cares pays out the first benefits, that there's going to be approximately 17,000 people that will receive this benefit to support their long-term care needs. We're estimating that there's probably 800,000 people or more that are going to be entering this long-term care pipeline where they're going to need assistance over the next 75 years.
A lot of people are negative because they think that they're never going to be able to contribute enough to it to get out of it what we're talking about today. Can you talk a little bit about the dollars and cents?
That's a great question. And this all comes down to money and people doing the back of the napkin math to understand how this impacts them personally and financially. So the WA Cares program is a very modest benefit at $36,500 and adjusted for inflation. So that could go up to potentially $47,000 or so in 20 years. But that 58 cents is on every $100 of earnings. So let's use as an example, somebody makes $50,000 a year. That's roughly $300 a year, $300 a year that they're paying into this benefit. So let's say that they are retiring in the 10-year period, the 10-year for the vesting. That's $3,000 for this $36,500 benefit. But let's say they have 20 years, that's $6,000 they're paying for a $36,500 benefit. Let's say 30 years, you get my point. You're doing the math with me here. That's $9,000 that you're getting a $36,500 benefit. So it's a very modest payroll premium that every Washingtonian will be paying. So 58 cents for every $100.
I think some people are pretty critical though about whether or not if they're going to retire in the next, let's say 3 or 5 years, are they paying into this benefit and they're going to see nothing? I think a lot of people are kind of freaked out about that. Do you have some ideas around what the actual facts are?
We hear that question a lot from what we call near retirees. And those are individuals that are maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years away from retirement. They're going to be paying into this for 5 years or more. And then they feel like they're not going to receive a benefit. But the really key thing to understand is this vesting period has all sorts of opportunities for people to really customize how they plan to retire and still be able to draw down and access this benefit. One of the key provisions is there's 3 of the last 6 years. So somebody maybe right now is really struggling, or come January and they start paying this payroll premium, they're struggling financially, health-wise, that they see that there's potential that they're going to need this benefit. They can access it in the 3 years if they've been paying into this currently. The other thing is it's a 10-year vesting period. But again, for those near retirees, the thing is do the calculation, because you can also, if you are technically quote unquote retired, and what we know is that that's kind of an old, outdated model. People don't just retire and then go sit by the pool or travel the world or play golf 24/7. There's some people that do that, and that's their choice. They chose that option. But oftentimes what happens is people take 1 or 2 years off. They're tired of working. I do want to go see my grandchildren. I want to go travel. I want to go play golf. But then they realize, wait, I want to do something more. I still have a lot of pep in my in my body, I have a lot of mental acuity. I'm still really engaged in issues. So they might actually go work for a family member, work for their daughter's company, helping out, doing the accounting. Or they might take one of their passions. Maybe they have a passion for woodworking and making paddles for canoes, or that they're a gifted, talented beater, that they're making earrings. Those are all ways that they could actually sell those things, and that is still working. That is still vesting. So they could take off those 2 or 3 years, because you have 5 years where you can basically not work if you don't need to. But you can also then come back into and still vest into this program for a very small amount of money. The other thing, I was just talking to someone the other day, is she asked me, can I still vest if I am taking care of my grandchildren and my daughter decides to pay me a small amount of money? Absolutely, because self-employed people can opt into this and still vest and access this benefit.
I know that folks are concerned about what they can do with this money. Will it all go directly to providers? Will there be some flexibility? We're super independent thinkers here in Washington State, and I know that there's been a lot of time and care put into how you can use your money in this fund. Do you want to talk a little bit about how people can use that fund?
AARP has done a lot of survey work on the issue of long-term care. And one of the things that came out in our survey is that more than 80% of people want to remain in their home as they age. They do not want to go into a facility. They want to stay at home. And so what is so incredibly terrific about Washington State is that we have one of the nation's leading home and community-based services systems to provide long-term care assistance. And that's why the WA Cares program is just kind of a natural extension of that incredible work and that legacy that we have in this state. So people can easily stay in their homes as they age and have what we call wraparound services. So it could be an in-home care provider that comes in and provides, 4 or 5 hours of helping somebody take a bath, wash their hair, clean their house, prepare some meals for them for that day, check their blood pressure, their glucose levels, make sure that they're taking their medications, checking the pill box, making sure that they are having a quality of life where they can, again, stay in their home and age, or to take them to medical appointments or what have you. The WA Cares benefit also, what is really great is that another set of data really shows that women bear the brunt when it comes to caregiving. We are the ones that tend to be the caregivers. We are also the ones that are more likely to leave the workplace in our prime earning years in order to stay home and care for a loved one, which places a dual economic burden on that woman and on her own financial future to care for herself and her own long-term care needs. It also is not what that loved one wants to see happen to their daughter, their son, their grandchild, whoever is caring for them. And so this benefit can actually be used to pay that person so that they are still generating some type of income and that they have the ability to care for this individual, for a loved one, and not necessarily economically burden themselves. And we know that another data point is that about $7,200 is the average amount an individual pays out of pocket to care for a loved one as they age. So that's a lot for a middle income family. That's a huge percentage of their overall household budget. And we really feel strongly that, the WA Cares program provides that financial assurance so that you can really focus in on what you want to do when you care for one of your loved ones, is love them and not have to worry about the money.
I'd love to hear a little bit about your vision of what your hopes and dreams are for this fund in the future. Knowing that we're the first state to do this, I'm guessing we have our eyes on other states hoping to follow suit.
As you know, Washington State has always been a trailblazer. And this piece of legislation that we started working on back in, 2015, has really caught the attention of other states. And what we're seeing is potentially other states that are going to develop very similar types of programs where, we as a state can have potentially a reciprocal agreement with those other states, so that if we do have individuals that are moving out of state to another location, that they would be able to access this benefit. And just as those residents would be able to access our benefit in our state. That's really exciting. The other thing that just excites me is that a lot of people just do not anticipate for what they're going to need for long-term care. I began much of my career working with the poorest of the poor and looking at poverty. We had domestic violence shelters, we had homeless shelters, we had transitional housing programs. But it broke my heart to see women in their 50s and 60s homeless and not having the resources for a variety of reasons. But there should be a willingness and a challenge for all of us that we can do better in this state when it comes to caring for the most vulnerable individuals, and for also making sure that everyone has the ability to retire with purpose and dignity.
I share those same hopes and dreams. And I'm so proud that Washington State already has a really complex network to really look at and convene around long-term care issues, supports, and services. I know we have a bipartisan commission that's looking at this. A program of this nature and the first in the nation is always going to have some sort of technical cleanup or thoughtful changes. Stay tuned. I'm sure that next year we have a huge commitment to honor those changes that are necessary to ensure that the most Washingtonians, as they age in place, age with dignity, have the supports that they need. It's been such a great time to talk with you today, Kathy. You did a wonderful job representing the people of Washington. Do you have any final remarks?
Thank you, Representative Gregerson. This has been a tremendous opportunity to share about the WA Cares Fund. I think the one thing that I really would love to, just as closing remarks, is that people like the fact that, you can be covered if you have a pre-existing condition, that you can pay a family caregiver to help you as you age, that you can use it for a variety of services and supports that you might need for your own long-term care. We have options and choices in the state, and I'm very excited about the WA Cares Fund, and I'm very excited to, see the real potential that it's going to create for everybody to age with grace.
It's been a pleasure to talk with you today, and I'm really excited to see this thing get off the ground and really help real people where they are. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Keep in touch around the WA Cares Fund. You can tune in with www.wacaresfund.wa.gov. And I hope all of you have a great day. And it's such an honor to put people first. Bye-bye.